Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Darren, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
All right. How was your flight coming in from Canada today?
Flight was awesome. You know, I actually almost lost my computer on the changeover, so that was about the only slight delay, but other than that.
Being in the online business without a computer, that would pretty much crimp your business style, wouldn't it? Well, we've been showing some videos here to all the folks that are listening today, and you're known as, in my world, the unknown bird farmer, okay? So it's amazing because you came from a town of less than 900 people in central Canada, right? Okay, you were manual labor for many years, like making $500 a week, okay? But you strove to earn more, to start your own business, to go online. You built this huge online business, and as I've been finding out as I'm checking around the industry, you're a legend in the direct selling industry. So it's such a pleasure to be able to say hello to you, meet you today, and find out what I'm really here to do. And I think what everybody out there would love to hear. I want to get inside your head on how you did this, because it's an amazing feat of starting where you did and building this into a global online business. So I want to get in your head a little bit and find out how you did.
Yeah, so what you were saying is very true. I come from a small farming community. I grew up in a mobile home trailer, lived on a farm. I worked in a factory all of my life, very blue collar work. So 15 to 18 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. So really struggling paycheck to paycheck.
Wow.
At one point in time, I actually found myself over $75,000 in debt because, you know, when you're a young kid, things come up, you want to buy a few things, you get a vehicle, you get a place. Even though I lived in a trailer and I drove a beat up old pickup truck, that added up, plus all of the other expenses. So over time, I found myself in debt and actually with no place to go. I didn't know how I could get out of the rut I was in, really.
Wow. So was there a turning point, a breakthrough that was sort of the first aha moment for you?
Yeah, I think the big shift came when I changed my mind, because I would see a lot of people driving around in their fancy cars, Porsches, Mercedes, BMWs, making a lot of money, living the lifestyle that I knew I deserved to live, but I wasn't. So I always said to myself, like, what makes them any better than me? They're not smarter than me, they definitely don't work harder than me, so what's the difference with them and me? Like, why can they live the life that I deserve? So I had to make a switch in my mindset, so I started looking around online for people that were doing, making the money, making the big money, living the lifestyle, and I tried to look for common threads between all of them.
So online was powerful because you could do that from anywhere in the world. Here you are in a town of 900 people, central Canada, but you're selling products and services and online things all over the world. So was there a system that you followed?
Well, you know, at first, you know, looking online gave me the exposure to the world, because being from a small town, I was around, and no disrespect to people, but I was around small-minded people because they were in a small town and they never really left.
Okay.
So I couldn't explore the true possibilities. So online allowed me to search out the people that were really doing it. So I got into a lot of different things. I got into MLMs, real estate courses, 1-900 numbers back then, tax liens. Pretty much you name it, I've tried it, and I've stumbled more times than...
Some of them sound like Ponzi deals or something almost.
Yeah, and honestly, I've stumbled more times than I care to admit.
Right.
And pretty much none of those I had true success in. I made a little bit of money, don't get me wrong, but didn't make the big breakthrough.
Right.
So what I did was I actually started looking for common threads. The people that were making big money and the products and services that were allowing people to make the big money, I wanted to see what's the commonality between all of those.
Okay.
And what I found, the real common thread was systems and processes.
Okay.
Of everything that I had tried before that, nothing really had a true system in place that allowed people to get started quickly and duplicate the success of other leaders. So that's when I found the big aha moment of systematizing things.
Okay. So what do you mean by system?
What I mean by system is not in the traditional sense of a machinery or anything like that.
Okay.
An anagram that I use all the time is systems means save yourself stress, time, energy, and money. So system to me means systematizing a process to make it easier for somebody to go from point A to point Z with the least resistance possible. So saving yourself stress, time, energy, and money. That's what a system is.
Okay. So now you've developed these systems, you've followed these systems, and you're now showing other people how to use your systems so they can make money. Is that correct?
That's correct. And to build out these systems, just so people know, one of the big misconceptions that people have is when they get into a business or an affiliate product or anything like that online, they just figure they can grab a link and go promote it. And people don't buy without getting their pain points solved, without getting seeing the big benefits, and without going through a little bit of a process. You got to build a relationship with people.
Okay.
So what I do is I actually look at the main objective, the main goal first.
Okay.
When you find the main goal, I actually work backwards, because in that whole pathway to the goal, there's a lot of objections that you got to overcome. People's minds will say, yes, this is good, no, that's bad. So every time where there's a yes or no statement, I make a different little path or an arm, and it's almost like a roadmap that I'm building. So if you think of it, if you were driving from New York to LA without a map, you'll get there eventually, but it's going to take you a long time because you might turn on the wrong roads or whatever.
Sure.
So that's the same thing I do with my systems, is I build the roadmap and I lead people through the easiest path to the destination.
Right. So you talk about pain points. So for example, a pain point in some industries is having to load your basement full of inventory and things like that. So this is not a business, the online business that you've developed. You don't have to stock big inventories and do all of that kind of stuff, because those are pain points, right?
Yeah, pain points are stuff like that, but also a pain point is stress overload.
Okay.
There's a girl, Rhonda. I mean, she had corporate overload, right?
Right.
I mean, she loves her job, but all of the stress gets to her, right? So she looks to places online to relieve some of that stress. So one of the pain points is stress. Some people's pain points is money. Some people's pain points is staying more time with their kids, with their families. So each one of those people have a different path, a different route.
Right.
So you just got to talk to that person and give them all of the confidence and build a relationship to get them down that path.
Right. No, I know, I've heard that now that you've developed these programs and you're helping so many people, you get a chance every month to kind of take like a little breather, like on a monthly basis, and hang out with the family and have some fun too, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not all work, right?
Absolutely. You know, this lifestyle that the online business has given me, we actually travel at least once a month to exotic locations around the world. And that's all part of the business. It's all part of the online world. It really is like a different community there. Like you're allowed the freedom. To me, my pain point being from the small town was freedom. It was money as well, but I knew the money would come along with the freedom, along with everything else. So for me, it was just getting out of the small town community. So back in the day, I actually moved out of the small community, and I moved into an area where people were doctors, lawyers, accountants, people that had higher level education incomes, and all of a sudden my game raised up a little bit.
Okay.
So I started to become free, and then as the money started coming, I started traveling. So now me and Rhonda and my family and everybody, we travel once a month now.
Fantastic. So part of your system is you also teach people how to connect into making other relationships where other people help you make money, so you're not doing it all yourself, right? So you're multiplying your own efforts. So tell me about that.
Yeah, that's one of the big things about the systems is you're automating the process so you can duplicate your efforts. My systems will basically give the perfect presentation every time. My systems, they don't care what the age, race, gender, background, they don't care anything about that. They don't care where you live in the world. They'll give the perfect presentation 24 hours a day. So traditionally, when people started businesses, they got to go belly to belly, they got to go face to face, and they got to try and use what little time they have to make the sale.
Right.
But when you have the right system in place, your time is leveraged and is duplicated, so you can give the same presentation 100 times simultaneously.
Yeah, so there's no door-to-door selling here or anything like that. You're able to take the systems you've developed and hand them off to these key strategic people, and now they're duplicating your efforts, and then it gets duplicated across the board without having any real problems across the distribution.
That's right. I mean, you don't have to have a prior education or computer skills or anything like that to get started with a system like this, because it's already done and built. Like, I literally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars building it, perfecting it, tweaking it, and once it's all done and it's optimized, Then I hand it off to key people who are in my organization, my clients. And literally all they have to do, if they wanted to, is just copy and paste a few proven advertisements. They could do radio ads, newspaper ads, online ads, whatever really connects with them. We've got all of that proven. And once that advertisement hits a prospect or a lead, they come through the system, and the system really takes over.
Right. So you help people set up their business with your systems. You provide them with choice of products, with the systems to sell the products, duplicate that process. You also tell me about the training, so that how do you help people get started?
Yeah, good question. When people get into the system and they choose to follow through and start with the system, we've got weekly training. We've got online portal where they can access 24/7. We've got weekly calls. We've got monthly webinars. We've got in-person training, coaching, everything.
Right.
So we can get as deep as hands-on private workshops, or we can go as wide scale as phone calls weekly or webinars weekly to thousands of people. So depending on the level that people want to really scale their business, if somebody wants to scale their business hard and fast, I mean, I would recommend coming to a private workshop, hands-on, duplicate all of our campaigns for people. And when they leave that workshop, I mean, they've got everything that I build right for them. Some people are actually making sales by the time they leave the workshop.
You know what I love about this? What I'm hearing is somebody could still have a job and start this in a part-time fashion and leverage it through your training, your products, your systems, your ads, all the things that you've developed. And they could start in a small, kind of slower process, or others that pick up on it maybe a little quicker, maybe have more time available to kind of jump in, full force. You can actually take them and mentor them in a private, almost one-on-one fashion, and show them how to jumpstart their business in a more aggressive, almost full-time fashion. But anywhere in between that spectrum, you have the ability to help somebody start their business.
Absolutely. I mean, if somebody's retired, if they're retired and looking for extra income, they can jump in full force. If they got a full-time job, I never ever tell anybody to quit their job.
Right.
That's not me. I mean, I know a lot of people online will say, you can quit your job tomorrow, but that is not me. I say to people, here's what you do. You start with the system, you start making a little bit of money. As you start scaling up your income, see if you want to take a day off a week, and then scale your income up. And then once your income has either matched or exceeded, then the decision becomes easy for you. You can choose to stay with your job, or you can choose to go with this full time. So
I think we're going to hear from someone named Rhonda that you mentioned that has been in a corporate environment and is in a transitional type situation. And I'm looking forward to meeting Rhonda too also.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So Darren, I have one question. I generally am very skeptical of something that sounds too good to be true. I'm sure there's a few people out there that might be saying this sounds too good to be true. But how do you handle skeptics in your world?
There's a lot of skepticism, and rightfully so. There is a lot of scammers out there, and you got to be careful. I mean, I feel for people that fall for that kind of stuff, and I try and avoid that kind of stuff as much as I can too. And sometimes I even fall for the scams out there, but. To overcome skepticism in my business, what I do is I lead with my best foot forward. I give my best training, content, tools, everything up front for the people to try, and I prove it to them that it works before I ask for any money. So
that makes sense.
It's kind of like, here, I'm going to prove it to you, and if it works for you and you really like it and you want further education, then you can give me your money.
I like that. You know why I like that? Because what you're saying is when you prove it to them up front, then it puts them into a positive kind of a mindset almost, right? Because now they're thinking, wait a minute, why should I be skeptical? You just showed me that it works. So tell me about mindset in your industry.
Yeah, mindset's a big thing. A lot of people, they'll focus on the negative in the world because the media, it blows up all the negativity all around the world, and people will focus on their low-paying job, they'll focus on their bills, and they'll focus on the heartache. And when you focus on the negative, that's kind of what you attract into your life.
Right.
And once you start thinking of abundance and joy and everything that's possible in the world, that's what you start attracting. That's one of the reasons why you got to surround yourself with people, like-minded people. Like there's a good quote by Jim Rohn who says, "You are the average of the 5 people you hang around the most with," and that's so true.
Yeah.
If you want to If you hang around with millionaires, your average income is going to be elevated somewhere in between $0 and $1 million, usually around the midpoint. If you hang around with billionaires and stuff like that, you're going to go up maybe to the 9 figures, 8 figures for sure.
Gotcha. So now I got to ask a kind of a Shark Tank question here, okay? Because on Shark Tank, you'll hear, one of the sharks say, well, tell me about the finances, the money, the modeling, okay? So tell me about, do you have any kind of modeling systems that as a business that you run?
Yeah, I actually model after the most successful people out there. In any different industry, the people that are the most successful have the right systems in place. So McDonald's is a perfect example. They've got a great model, a system in place that a 14-year-old kid can make the same hamburger as a 50-year-old woman. It doesn't matter anything.
Yeah,
so they've really got it dialed in. So I model after successful people and businesses. And also another thing about modeling is finding people to model yourself after. So if you find a millionaire mentor, you got to act like they do, you got to think like they do, and you got to do what they do. It's that simple.
Yes. So getting to know you like this is a real pleasure for me because I started much like yourself worked in my father's restaurants when I was 11 years old, washing dishes and busboy and all that kind of stuff. So I took my father's advice and mentoring to become an entrepreneur. And I think now I help other entrepreneurs build their businesses. And so you've been doing this now for how many years? And you've got hundreds, if not even more, people that you've put in business and you're mentoring now on a daily basis.
Yeah, I've actually got thousands of people from around the world, from all levels. I mean, I got hundreds of people that are at the very high level, but I got thousands of people from around the world that are either from beginner to at least making some sort of an income online. And I've been doing this for over 12 years now.
Wow.
And over the last few years, I've actually really been dialing in the coaching. We've started doing these live event coaching and workshops and stuff like that, and I'd love for anybody that's watching to attend one of those workshops.
Fantastic. Well, I think this has been a great day to hang out with you, and from bird farming to thousands of people that you're mentoring, congratulations on a major success. And there's the biggest thing that I'm hearing, and if you have maybe a point or two at the end you like, but I'm hearing you're telling anybody, just start slow. Don't go all in before you really get a chance to understand it. You're going to prove it to people before you're going to ask them to kind of jump in a big way. And I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate how that comes off, and it seems like a very sincere opportunity for those that are watching. Are there any last words of wisdom you'd like to mention to anybody out there listening today?
Yeah, you know what? I would say the real key is just to take action and to start. You're never going to move forward unless you start, and you're never going to accelerate forward if you're looking in the rearview mirror. So focus crystal clear on a point in time in the future. Vision yourself as you want yourself to be, as you deserve to be, and just go for it. Take action and move on it.
That's fantastic. In fact, I have a book called Act Now, because all these people would come to me and they would not be ready to make that decision, and that indecision, I think, is one of the biggest challenges in life. So let's close on that note. It was great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Darren Salkeld, great to be here today. And Act Now, no indecision, great opportunity, and pleasure to get to meet you today.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right.